There are many simple things in the world. Shovels. They are all different. Gardening shovel. Unloading shovel. Children's shovel. But there is also a different shovel. We use it when we come to the position. In short time, it helps us dig a trench which saves us from bullets. If a tank will pass over the trench, there is a high probability that it will not cause any harm to the soldier. We dig in the ground, deeper, and then connect the trenches with our friends to the left. In just a few hours, trenches are all connected. When we do not have an axe, we can use a shovel to cut a loaf of bread. A soldier uses a shovel as a paddle, crossing the wide river under enemy fire. If we run out of ammunition, we will use a shovel again. And then we'll move on. And when we get the order to stop, we'll take a shovel again and build around us an impregnable fortress. This fortress is defended by the army of Ukraine, our army.
If that's really a thing, and I get authorized to do it once, it's pretty much gonna be me sitting there talking shit, like, constantly.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Welcome to the Monday edition. U.S. Army W.T.F moments and W.T.F Nation Radio. We have news and announcements abound throughout these next couple of hours, or hour and 45 minute-ish. Sorry, I had to take a phone call to make sure a lot of things were all ready to go and ready to rock and roll. I am pumped. So real quick, you guys were saying, well, hey, wait, what are you talking about this thing on X? Okay, look. So I'm going to use a little bit of a movie psyop magic, and I'm going to be streaming a space from Anthony Anderson's Stolen Valor account on X. So you guys don't have to worry about getting an X account. You can hear it. And this is the update of the Stolen Valor act, in honor of Master Sergeant Jack Dona's father. And he's going to give us some updates. So some of the news that you might want to talk about, or hey, are you going to talk about this? It's going to end up happening on the second portion of the hour. So, but I will take this time to go over some announcements. Everybody's been like, hey, okay. So, for a while there, U.S. Army WTF moments and WTF Nation Radio got into the swag game, the merch, apparel, as you would say. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I was telling a good friend of mine who's another influencer who is a well-known Mill media page, and I was like, all this time when U.S. Army WTF Moments was starting off and we were getting a bunch of accounts and a bunch of veteran-owned businesses that were starting off themselves, we've always propped them up. We've always, oh my God, the picture behind me is like, what happened? The picture, oh, that's a bad no-no. I'll have to fix that later. That's going to like drive my OCD up like crazy now. At any rate, so we've always assisted in everybody, all the big names that you know now started small. We all did. And as we started to grow, we pushed them. We get, hey, let's help some homies out. Let's get you guys and grow your business and grow your page, grow your whatever. So we have no issues with apparel companies to make them ends meet or whatever, because that's part of a thing. Now, whether you decide or say, oh, well, whatever, you guys are gonna rant from your trucks now. No, a lot of the OG Mill Meme pages started off this way, and they grew into apparel to sustain the operations in which they have. So I'm happy to announce that today we are launching. Who's getting waxed to fund this? Yeah. We are launching our merch shop. U.S. Army WTF Moments swag line is live now. And as a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and grab the window cap. You guys know me. I love doing the window caps. There we go. The shop is live. The swag shop is live. I'm going to be dropping in the comments and stuff like that. So, let's see. Let's see what we got. Swag we got. Well, let's see the featured stuff. Okay, you guys remember this T-shirt, right? The WTF Nation Radio listener shirt. Remember that? The genuine listener, and then of course the old stencil one. So matter of fact, let me just go ahead and drop this in here. Let me drop it in now. This is going to be the Boats and Hose Fund? Yeah. It is in the chats. Is there an employee discount? No such thing. No, just kidding. The employees of the Empire will have to wait until the next Darth Vader meeting we'll discuss that in a minute. So that right there. The shop is open. The link is inside the chats on Facebook and YouTube. So shirts, stickers, decals, patches, and as a matter of fact, so the little top fan tab, the Facebook Ranger tab, all that stuff is going to be sold. So I'm going to do some unboxing right here in front of everybody, showing you what we have in store. So some of the stuff that you've seen already for the lines, you just click in there and you'll see all that. So again, the WTF Moments shop is open, and we're excited. I'm pumped because a lot of this blood, sweat, and tears went into this a few years, a couple. But I was just telling CQ today, man, it took a minute for this shit to come back online, and I'm glad it's happening. So let's do some unboxing, right? So those that you see on the links, that's what you see on the page for right now. But we have behind the scenes additional lines of I can say this now, additional line of product and merch. I do that picture behind me is like really jacking me up right now. So let's go ahead and let's look at this right here. Look at that. WTF Moments hat, ball caps, soon to be on the U.S. Army WTF Moments shop. There you go. And also we have, you guys remember the classics, right? Let me see. You guys remember this? I had to pull out some old stuff here. You guys remember we were the ones that came up with the WTF Nation Radio Ranger tab back in the day. Speaking of Rangers, we're going to get an update about the Ranger, about the boat guy. And we even said back in the day, we were the Ranger School of Radio. This is like an old shirt. Still resonates with the fans. So that is coming back. So we're also going to have different like moisture wicking athletic stuff. So you're going to get the Ranger, the Ranger tab, WTF Nation Radio, a moisture wicking, and then it's going to come in different colors. Ranger, Ranger. Well, look, it's just in the shape of a tab. Okay, Steven in there throwing some hate. And then of course the OGs. The OG shirts, you saw the single color ones, but don't worry, we're going to have the color ones coming out as well. So again, these are future lines that you're seeing right now, prototypes. Of course, moisture wicking as well. Yeah, there you go. So, dude, I'm pumped. This will be fun. I like this. Some of you have been contacted already. And you're like, hey, what do you? So here's the W.T.F Nation Radio genuine OG one. It's making a comeback. It's gonna come back. So I'm excited about that. And then the standard W.T.F Nation Radio shirt. So it says one thing about me getting all the promotional pre done, and that, like I said, that was cotton shirt, and then this is a PT shirt you can get too. So yeah, pumped. You still wear the hoodie? God, oh man, that hoodie. Yeah, that. So all that line, Sergeant Suarez, those lines are all coming out. Those lines are all going to happen. So just wanted to give you give an update. So again, jump on that link. Go ahead and start ordering. The lines are open. If you guys, as you order, any issues come up, please contact the page. We will not be, the main page does not handle the merch shop. That's more of me and another entity handling that. And but as this page grows, what we're going to do is we're going to grow the page to where all the shows are going to be along with the so you click on that, there's the shop. Oh yeah, I forgot, we even got little onesies on there, so all your mini WTF gear. So as this grows, it's going to have for instance, like Pop Culture Warrior has his merch stuff up. And so what is going to happen is that his merch, matter of fact, let me drop his shop in there too. So that's his merch. So a lot of these elements are going to start consolidating into one site. So that way, this is going to be up in the interim. You can still get your merch from Pop Culture Warrior, and he's got a bunch of good stuff too. So a lot of stuff that you see for his tees and his mugs and stuff like that, it's all going to get consolidated into the big page of page. Exactly that, Coach. What do you hear? What do you say? So, dude, that picture behind me. Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have. Oh man, that was killing me. That's straight enough for government work. It's better than. It's still fucking fucked up. Hang on. Sorry, man. Ranger panties. Ranger panties. Yes, Ranger panties are coming up too. So, anyways, looking forward to it. Jump in the links in the chats. You can see it. You can already start getting. I'm excited. I'm already pumped. Like I said, if you want to replay what we have going on, then. Yeah, my OCD, my ADD's fighting. It is, man. I'm sorry, I can't. I got to look at that. Now I'm looking at all my ships there on the ground, not being asymmetric to, in a landing formation. But again, so all the tabs that you see, all the images that you see that right there, and of course, all the demonstrator shirts that I just showed are going to be on future lines, and I'm excited. I am pumped. So there we go. I think that's it. I think that was the swag, the shop stuff that I was gonna talk about already. Again, tonight we're gonna get an update from Stolen Valor, Anthony Anderson, and what we're gonna do is we're going to play. There's on X, we're gonna play what's called a space, and basically with that, we're going to be listening into the space, and Anthony Anderson is going to give an update on the boat rager. And then we're going to get an update on the bill for the Arizona bill for Stolen Valor. And funny enough, the story of the boat rager and the story of the Arizona Stolen Valor Act is kind of, I think, might end up, being connected or overlapping. We'll listen into Andy, and then we're good to go. Yeah, you're gonna have to, all the code. So basically, again, one more time, all the stuff is gonna get. And if you got a message from U.S. Army W.T.F. Moments on some promotional items, then just like CQ, how he does his little thing, he reaches out to his fans. We did a little bit the same as well. Then there we go. So there it is. That's kind of like the big we're punt, because everyone said, hey, you guys had, I remember that T-shirt, like you were saying there, Soros, the hoodie. I should have got a hoodie from last time. I think all I got was, I think mostly got some of the shirts. So ball caps going to be coming out. Like I said, a little trinkets, stickers, or as the kids like to say, slaps. We're going to have slaps come out, slaps. So I'm pumped. Where's Matt? Massey's not here. He had to, I'm reporting the email for Blue Pill Span. What are you talking about? Message me on this page. What are y'all talking about? Oh, that's between Branko and, so anyways, I think, are we ready to move on to the news right now? Cause we only got a little bit of a window here, before Anthony starts up the space. So just want to just cover up. You got all the things in there. Yes, it will. Yes. I appreciate you asking that question. Yes. The link will be posted on U.S. Army WTF Moments, WTF Nation Radio, and on the X and on the, on both accounts, WTF Nation Radio and X accounts. So there we go. And it will be pinned on the Facebook page of both the main and the radio. So there you go. That answers that question. So that's pretty much the good news on the swag side of the house. So how's your all's stocks doing? Are we supposed to be like having some sort of meltdown right now? Are all of our stocks going? Are we supposed to be jumping out of windows already? Are we supposed to be? I just know that everyone's freaking out. And here's the thing with me is I don't have a lot of stocks and stuff like that, or 401ks or whatever to kind of worry about. I don't know enough about the tariff thing. I know what a tariff is. It's just the fact is all the tariffs going back and forth. And obviously with social media, every time something comes out against or for this administration, all the tariff experts keep coming out. Just fly out. It's almost like the PSYOP experts or the communications experts or the cyber experts or the infantry experts or the armor experts. So all those Ranger panty commodities are now worthless. Yeah, hey, what's up, Ranger Fed? Yeah, really, huh? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So let me just cross over some of the news headlines. This is kind of like, what are you talking about being worried? This is stock buying season. I'm not worried. It was what I'm saying, Pip. There's a lot of people talking about when your iPhone costs you $3,000 or $10,000, or when you're, you guys know that when you buy an iPhone, you're not really buying it outright. You're paying payments on it until you own it, right? So yeah, exactly, John. My stonks. So it's kind of funny just seeing it back and forth. Mortimer says buy. Yeah, buy. What am I buying? For those that are not that play in the stock market, I guess would know a little bit more in it, but I'm just like, dudes, yeah, just time to fucking just jump on this train and fucking take the ride and dumpster fire. There was a lot of going back and forth stating that the support for this administration has gone back and forth, saying that yes, it's good, yes, it's bad, and this is good or this is bad. And some critics are calling this and this is according to ABC News, an economic nuclear war. And one of the things that they did when they posted that article on their little 3-minute read is that some billionaires criticize Trump tariffs. I'm gonna tell you what, as a poor, or if you're poor, or if you're not a billionaire, does this affect? And this is a rhetorical question. Does this affect our bottom line? Does it affect our egg buying power? Because I know eggs are now like gas. if you're gonna pay so much per gallon for egg, or so much per dozen, just like you pay so much per gallon for eggs, is it really going up? Is it really going down? I've again just kind of like just watching this fucking dumpster fire of fires of excellence. Billionaire financier Bill Ackman, who backed his 2020 Trump 24 campaign, said that this is a major policy error, and this is a business investment will grind to a halt. Consumers will close their wallets and pocketbooks, and will severely damage our reputation with the rest of the world. Before I came online, I was speaking. I had several phone calls, and one of the phone calls was that, no, soldiers are still buying vehicles at so much % interest. So I think buying power is still there. I think everyone's buying shit. Justin says it's a temporary thing, and it's already balancing out. Again, I'm not a stock guru, or nor am I in the stonks world to know enough. And everyone has had their back and forth on who they're going to support or who they're not going to support. I do know that some countries are in negotiations to go back and forth with the tariffs, renegotiate this, retaliatory tariffs and stuff like that. According to what article I just said, who was I just talking about? Because it's like I said, ABC News again. My apologies because I just not a. Soon after, it was like, what was this? Soon after, Trump threatened to slap an additional 50% tariff on China unless the country withdraws 34% retaliatory tariffs announced last week. Those retaliatory tariffs came in response to a 34% tariff announced by the U.S. states earlier, which came on top of 20% tariffs already imposed on China. The threatened 50% tariff would bring a total of U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods to 104%. So, again, I'm waiting to see what's fluctuating back. Matter of fact, what is the stocks looking like? What is the Dow looking like? Here, I just literally just said I don't. Let's see what the Dow looks like. There we go. Let me window cap that off the merch. There we go. Pew pew. There. Wow, looks like it was down a few points. Again, this is that closing. So as of today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time, EDT, yeah, that whole EDT stuff too, Eastern Standard Time. So there it is, right there. NASDAQ was up. Yep. Yeah, everyone's gonna like. How long does 1 million last after 60? It's already trying to dime me out here on my age. So that's what it's looking like right now. But nobody can articulately say what the fuck is going on, or at least explain it to the layman on what is going on. Look, am all of a sudden am I going to have my my house payment go up, or my rent go up in my apartment, or my fuel for my vehicle? Is that all going up? It's just going to be what? Like a doctor going to be a medieval doctor? A medieval doctor? You have to bleed a little before you get better. If that's what's being posted, if that's what's being said, I mean, again, looking at all this stuff, let's see who are the top gainers here. Because somebody asked, because I know Apple was probably affected by that. Oh yeah, shit, there it is. The Apple right there. And then Amazon.com got up. Price, look, all these top gainers in this stuff. Nike took a hit. Home Depot took a hit. Apple took a hit. Coca-Cola took a hit. Yeah. In the Fed, yeah, in the Fed. Taxation is theft. That's right. To quote the illustrious Pookie, taxation is theft. And so, yeah, money. Yeah. So there you go. We'll see what happens. It's only Monday. It only closed at 349 points. Is that bad? Good? Bad? After roller coaster stuff, Wall Street says it's going to be headed off to a bear market according to the AP. Treasury yields are tumbling, according to 24/7 Wall Street. We should go public. You're right, Steven. We should go public. Make sure you go to shop at armywtfmoments.com. Shop at armywtfmoments.com for all your merch. The link will be posted tonight, so you guys after the show you'll see the link going. But yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited about the merch. Okay, I'm not talking about the bear market. I don't know. We may have to do some discounts or something like that for everybody. Not will you guys be able to afford this? Will you guys be able to afford? The stock market is overvalued, according to Musa. Hey, what's up, Musa? So yeah, I'm curious to see what is what be going on, what is happening. So, is it too late to invest in Hawk Tua coin? Oh my God, I know, John. Oh, that Hawk Tua stuff. You guys heard what happened with her? I guess she supposedly screwed some people over out of money for her little Hawk Tua coin or whatever. Your Nvidia stocks and Tesla stocks are like a roller coaster. Yeah. Is everybody still? Somebody asked me if will vandalizing Tesla make their stock go up? That's a good question. Will it? I know if you're vandalizing the vehicle because you don't like somebody who made it, then let me introduce you to other car companies that you could probably not like. Yeah, look up peaks and valleys. Bro, again, I'm not a pump and dump. That's what it was. That's what it was called, right? So Hawk Tua girl did some of that and then was on a space, which we're going to play in a minute with Stolen Valor, but in a space. And yeah, I guess and she's like out in space. Somebody said, hey, are you sure you're doing a pump and dump? And she got up and I guess left the space. So we'll see. Again, another relief. Somebody else got relieved. More people getting relieved from our military. A Navy admiral at NATO got fired in the expanding national security purge. So here's my thing. What's a space? A space is like where you're holding a vocal. It's like it's almost like it's almost like listening to a podcast on Spotify, that doesn't have video. You're just going to hear a bunch of people talking. But I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines, just sitting there watching, drinking coffee with you guys. So that way Anthony Anderson can give an update on the Boat Rager and the Stolen Valor Act. So U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Shoshana Chatfield, who holds a senior position in NATO, has been fired. As in part of what appears to be an expanding national security purge. See, here's the thing. Is it a purge or is it just like we're finding out who is doing what to what? Like, who is comparatively to what standard? Is somebody actually fucking up to get fired or they're not? I don't know. I kind of like thought even when I was back in the day with different administrations that whoever you ended up being your boss, like it or not, you just said, Roger that, 3 bags full, pop and smoke, and I'll go do whatever. So, I'm just curious if it is or not. The information, of course, was not immediately confirmed by the Pentagon. However, the sources told Reuters that allies have been noted that Chatfield had been removed from her job. It's one of the only handful of female 3-star admirals, 3-star officers in the Navy, and was the first woman to lead the War College and the Navy War College. And the firing is the latest to rock the Pentagon after the Air Force guy. Yep, General Timothy Howe, head of National Security and U.S. Cyber Command. For the Navy, it follows the firing of its top officer, Admiral Lisa Franche. See, that's the thing. The Army and the Air Force rarely fired anybody. So it's kind of like when the Navy fires somebody, it's almost like a routine, lack of trust and confidence. That was their famous buzzwords. Lack of trust and confidence. And exactly that, Justin. Exactly that. Brass getting removed or getting told to retire is nothing new. The last several administrations, people who've worked in specific positions have been asked to leave, and that's it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Pip. If you move your fleet 5 degrees off course, the Navy will can your ass. Oh, for real, dude. They will. They'll bump you. They will bump you. They will bump you off. And for real, they just like, I mean, you hear about boats when they bump boats or when they run aground, you'll hear immediate reliefs. Or like there was another one that had a Starlink on a destroyer, an unauthorized Starlink dish, and they were using that for free webs to get their webs done, internets, and that individual was fired as well. So again, the Navy, everyone's the Navy fired somebody else. Well, the Navy fires everybody a lot. The Army and the Air Force, yeah, that's the one where it's a big deal because you're like either saying finally that person got fired, or you're saying, oh wow, why did they get fired? So it was unclear what was the reason for her dismissal, or if it was related to any U.S. policy at the direction of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also known as NATO. So I think we're getting ready to set up this thing right here. So I'm going to go on a break, get everything set up so that way we can listen into the space, and then you guys will see, we will hear Anthony Anderson of Stolen Valor, and of course, updates on the Stolen Valor Act, updates on the boat rager in Florida. Yeah, it's going to get excited. It's going to get exciting. Yeah, I'm just excited because I'm sorry, I'm pumped. We got the damn fucking merch up. It's finally posted after years. So we'll be right back. Everyone, refill your glasses. Hit the head, the latrine. Smoke them if you got them. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Soldier's tale of wild misdeeds, from the chow hall to the PT grind. You won't believe the things you'll find. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private tensions far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F, you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Stuck in the mud so deep, a midnight rain, no time for sleep. It moves straight like golden hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F, you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army of the force, the madness we know. A Humvee stuck in the mud so deep, a midnight rain, no time for sleep. It moves straight like golden hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F, you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army of the force, the madness we know. In the ranks where the wild things roam, every soldier's got a tale of their own. From the absurd to the downright strange. Army of the force, it never will change. So raise a glass to the tales untold. In the Army's world, we're the brave and bold. Live the moments that make us say, Army W.T.F every single day.
To speak, do you need to be able to speak to broadcast to all your networks, or are you good as a listener?
I'm good either or. And matter of fact, everybody's listening right now. So we're good. I mean, for the whole, we could inject some stuff. I'll tell you what, there's probably going to be some questions from our audience, and more than likely we'll be able to send it and relay it your way, if that makes any sense. Did you catch that?
We'll give everybody a few minutes to get on trying to set up.
Definitely.
All right. How about now? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we got you. So are you good for broadcasting on your end? You got everything?
Matter of fact, we're up right now and everybody's listening.
Awesome. We're going to give a few more minutes for some more people to get into the room, and then we will start. I'll start off with hitting on the boating incident in Florida, and then I'm gonna switch over to Molly to let her hit on basically the guts of all this and how it started, and then Representative Blackman should be here to talk about the updates on the Stolen Valor bill and where we are with it today.
Gotcha. I just want to say right now to the audience, right now, you guys can listen in on right now. We're broadcasting on all the platforms, so you don't have to switch to X. I'm bringing X to the other platforms, so you guys don't have to sweat it and you guys could see it. If you're on X, I'd recommend just staying on X. Don't try to do multi don't try to do multi listening, because it'll cause some feedback and all that. So
I'm really interested in the voting incident.
yeah, it's been big in the news, Molly, with the veteran community.
I've noticed that.
Exactly.
I can't wait to hear what you guys have uncovered.
Oh yeah. I've been talking to Anthony. Me and Anthony usually go 2-3 hours in a conversation to get all this information out. So
I've listened to you too. I can't wait. Look forward to hearing it.
All right, so it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with the boat incident that everybody's familiar with. If you're not, you haven't been on social media the past couple of days. So a couple of days ago, there was an incident in Florida where a boat captain boarded a young man's boat. It was breaking some. He said he was going too fast. I'm not sure the exactly what the kid was doing, but anyway, this guy was hollering at him from another boat, saying, "Hey, you're doing shit wrong. We're combat veterans. Blah blah blah." He then boards this kid's boat, but before he does that, he hollers at him, "Hey, we're combat veterans. We're Rangers." Then he boards this kid's boat and just berates. I mean, I think this kid was maybe I want to say 15 years old, maybe. And he berates this kid. I mean, just lights into his ass, man. I mean, just lost his mind on this kid. Well, he does get arrested, and I think he's being charged right now with burglary and a couple other felonies. Well, it was brought to my attention because while he was berating this young man, he claimed he was a Ranger. And people started contacting me and said, "Hey, was this guy a Ranger?" They were sending me screenshots of his website. He had the Ranger tab on his website. So I reached out to the Army, and if you want to see the actual response I got from the Army, it's actually up on my X page at Stolen Valor 1. Basically, he was a PFC. He did serve in Afghanistan from 05 to 06, but he was not a Ranger. He does not have a Ranger tab in his awards. Then somebody come back and said, "Well, hey, he could have, he could have been in the Ranger bat without getting the Ranger tab," which is true. So I reached back out to the Army again and said, "Hey, there's no sign this guy's got a Ranger tab. Can you tell me if he was ever assigned to a Ranger battalion?" The Army responded back. They said, "Mr. Anderson, there is nothing in Horner's personnel file that verifies he ever served in a Ranger battalion." So, with that being said, Florida has one of the toughest stolen valor laws on the books. Arizona, the bill we're going to talk about tonight, actually used Florida stolen valor bill as a template to write theirs. And actually, Florida this year is actually putting amendments into their stolen valor bill to make it tougher. So what this guy has done is he had claimed Ranger on his website, and under Florida stolen valor law, if he has obtained so much money, which I'm pretty sure he's been in business for a while, then he has broken their stolen valor law, and in the amount of money, I think it's over $10,000, it will be considered a felony. And I know his lawyer released a statement, stating that he'd been accused of stolen valor. Well, he is committing stolen valor if he is claiming to be a Ranger, if he has had his business communications, his website saying that he was a Ranger, when number one, he never went to Ranger school. Number two, he was never assigned to a Ranger battalion, period. So he's never had nothing to do with the Rangers. So if the prosecutor who's looking at this case is not aware, I'm going to make him aware, because this definitely breaks the Florida stolen valor law. I verified 2 or 3 times with the Army. There's nothing in his record that was overlooked, and they verified. Never been to Ranger school, and was never attached to a Ranger battalion. Most of his time was spent with the 173rd. And he was, his MOS was basically he was a 42 Alpha, which is a human resources specialist, which means he did the paperwork. He does have the combat action badge. What that tells me is, he saw combat or he was only on base when it got mortared. The difference between a combat action badge and a combat infantryman's badge, which I've been trying to explain to people on X, is a combat action badge you can get just by being engaged. If you're on a fob and a mortar lands within so many meters of you, 500 meters or something like that, you are automatically qualified for the combat action badge, no matter your MOS. With the combat infantryman's badge, you have to be an infantryman, and you have to be engaged by and engaging the enemy. So I don't know the particulars of his action for the combat action badge because I've been asked about his TBI, and I can't really comment on that because medical records are Privacy Act, and I can't, just because he does not have a Purple Heart in his awards does not mean he does not have a TBI, because back then TBIs weren't diagnosed as they are today, and they weren't awarded Purple Hearts as they are today. I think if you remember when the guys in Syria got hit, I think last year, there was about 7 soldiers that got awarded Purple Hearts for TBIs. Well, it wasn't like that in the early days of Afghanistan and Iraq. You didn't. If you got a TBI, you got your head banged around a little bit. If you weren't bleeding, and showing signs of an actual wound, you didn't get a Purple Heart. So it's possible he did sustain a TBI. But going back to the Ranger stuff, he was not a Ranger. He was not at any time attached to a Ranger battalion. And before we move on to the Arizona Stolen Valor bill, if there's anybody that has any questions about that, if you'll raise your hand, and I'll be glad to answer any questions pertaining to the boating incident in Florida.
What exactly led up to the altercation between the two boats?
Ken, can you speak onto that? I think you've been following that a little bit more than I have. I've just been following the military aspect of it.
Yeah, and basically what it was is that they were under a bridge in a specific locale, and it was, I guess he had accused somebody, of the kids, of being in a dangerous spot, and I guess he was speeding in between the bridge supports of the bridge. The thing is that he, I guess, mistaken another individual for that action. So he went off on a kid, and I think his age has been verified. Like, I think he's in his early 20s now. And so he's still a kid. I mean, obviously you can see the difference. It just, I don't know. I don't want to say that, kids don't grow in their 20s, but you can obviously tell that he was in his, he's a teenager, or at least a young in his 20s individual. He's sitting there saying, "Hey, it's not me, man. I'm just a kid. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. It was somebody else." And it was the boat ranger that got in his face and said that it was him, when the witness have been saying that it was not him. And so that's the in between the incident where then he boarded the kid's boat and then assaulted him on the boat, and that's where it got from there. The Big Dan show on social media has tracked it as well. And I'm learning, and just like other worlds, the fishing world and the boating world in Florida is a really close knit community. And you could go on just look up the Big Dan show, or you go to you could just Google or search in Facebook the incident, and you'll see the particulars of it, and even a longer video that's been circulating on X as well.
Yeah, and like I said, I was just asked to get involved in it because of the Ranger claims, and I reached out to the Army PAO, and they verified several times no Ranger tab, no Ranger school, and was not attached to the Ranger Battalion. So under Florida's Stolen Valor law, he has actually committed another felony on top of, I think, the two felonies that he has been charged with at this point. I would foresee Florida's pretty good about going after people for stolen valor. I've seen them go after several cases, so it wouldn't surprise me if you don't see them charge him with stolen valor in the next week or so, once they figure out that because for some reason after all this happened, all of his websites disappeared. Any mention of him being a ranger disappeared off the internet. But of course, you got your internet gurus out there. They'd already taken screenshots, et cetera, and some of them got emailed to me. And he very prominently displayed the Ranger tab on his business website. Claimed he was an Army Ranger in Afghanistan, which was false. So Parker Zanoff, what's the maximum penalty in Florida? I'm not exactly sure. I know there's several levels. It goes from misdemeanor all the way up to several, like I want to say third degree felony. Their law is pretty tough. It's one of the toughest in the nation. I think New Jersey may have the toughest. But if you just Google Florida Stolen Valor law, it's a SB. It's a Senate bill. It was a Senate bill that was passed. It'll give you the rough breakdown of what the penalties are.
So did he have a picture of himself on, say, Google wearing the Ranger tab?
I have not seen any pictures of him actually wearing the Ranger tab, but he claims, like I've seen where he says he said on his business website he was an Army Ranger, Army Combat Ranger, or something along those lines, and he also had the Ranger tab, which was displayed on his website. And for those that aren't in the military, to earn the Ranger tab, you have to go to Ranger School. It's considered a leadership school, and you go through their Ranger course, and you earn the Ranger tab, which is usually most infantrymen when they get into their higher level positions where they're leading soldiers, they go to Ranger School. You don't have to have the Ranger tab to be attached to Ranger Battalion, which I thought maybe could have been he could have been attached to Ranger Battalion, but when I checked back with the Army, they said negative. He was never attached to a Ranger Battalion at any time.
Because my father was a Ranger, but I'm sure a lot of things have changed since Vietnam, and that's quite a process. You don't forget that. Like, you don't make that mistake. You don't go from HR and decide one day you're a Ranger.
Well,
there's a lot of work involved.
Well, the 75th Ranger Regiment has positions within the Ranger Regiment that are cooks, commo, supply specialists, HR, and there's like Anthony said, there's specific processes that go through. If you guys are watching on the live right now, I have an archived portion of the website where it says Brock is a Florida Gulf Coast University graduate and a U.S. Army Ranger veteran paratrooper. Is an Operation Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, certified in CPR, AED, and pediatrics. And he also has this line: Brock is also part of the Wounded Warriors Alumni Association. So that's another leg to this that we're researching as well.
Let's see, the Iraqi campaign, I hadn't heard about that because according to his records I got from the Army, he only served in Afghanistan. And I've still got some questions about that. Like I said, I did what they call a quick biography on his. This isn't a FOIA. It's basically what I'm saying. I didn't do a FOIA. I did a basic media biographical pull from the Army. I see Jim Laporta's in here. He does a lot of those as a CBS News reporter. Jim, I'm gonna invite you to speak to, since you can get some insight on this. When you do a biographical request through the Army, They just send you the basics of what they see in their record. Here's what he done. Here's where he was. Here's where what his awards were. For me to be able to get his entire record, I would need to do a full FOIA on the guy. Jim, if you want to speak on that, because I know you've done more biographical pulls than I have.
Yeah. So, my name is James Laporta. I'm the national security editor for CBS News. So basically, in journalism, if we want to quickly identify if someone served in the military or not, what we can do is we can go to through the front door of each branch of service and request what's called releasable biographical data. Typically, they can, if I, and I'm trying to do this off the top of my head, but if I remember correctly, they can do pretty much anybody from 1999 to present day. Once there, they might refer you to the National Archives, but pretty much they can pull anybody from 1999 and to present day. And what you get is you get kind of the basics that you would see within a DD 214, which is the discharge paperwork. You would get the rank that they left the service at, the date that they left the rank, the date that they left the service. You would get a depending on which service you're asking for, you'll get deployments, you'll get a list of their medals, you'll get a list of you won't see any like derogatory anything, you won't see like characterization of service or anything like that, but you'll get like the real basic information on terms of like rank, when they came into the service, when they left the service, their medals, deployments, and things like that. If you're getting into if you're doing it for like special operations, say like Navy SEALs, the most you'll get on in terms of their units is like a West Coast SEAL team or like an East Coast SEAL team. They won't actually tell you if they're like, SEAL Team 2 or SEAL Team 6. But the turnaround for those are pretty quick. You can get those. I've gotten them in a turnaround in a day to, max of like 3 or 4 days. It kind of depends on the bandwidth of the service.
Yeah, I got mine. I think within about 2 hours actually today. Yesterday when I requested them, and for that I'd like to give a shout out again to Sean Parnell who fixed this system for us, because Jim, as you can attest to, we were having a wild time with FOIAs and even biographicals for a good 8 months. I quit. Sean Parnell reached out to me. For those who don't know, he's the Assistant Secretary of Defense, Press Secretary now for him. He reached out to me. He said, "Hey, what's the issue?" I told him, and within a week, the system was fixed. I was getting FOIAs, and like I said, when I reached out to the Army and said, "Hey, can I get the bios on this guy?" Within 2 hours, I had them. So,
which I will say, as someone who's been FOIAing the military for over a decade, that is a big deal. The FOIA system has long been broken. Not only is FOIA broken, there's a huge backlog at every single government agency. I know. So every year there's a annual FOIA report that has to come out, and every agency has to plug in their FOIAs into that, and they have to detail like the 10 oldest FOIAs that they have on the books. And I think CIA is still like working on FOIAs from 2014, last time I checked. So the FOIA system is broken, and there's a huge backlog. So the fact that even a small fix like that is actually a huge deal. I've been complaining about the Army FOIA system for a while. The Navy and the Marine Corps is probably the best, but that's only because back around 2017 they professionalized it. Before 2017, they were just as bad as the Army, and then the Air Force has their own problems. But anyways,
true. Yeah, that's what surprised me. I think I sent my biographical request to Fort Knox at about 12 o'clock that afternoon, and by 2 o'clock, the guy responded back with the bios, and then I responded back to him and said, "Hey, is there anything in his records that would say he was attached to any Ranger battalions?" And then he responded back within an hour of my email and said, "Hey, Mr. Anderson, that's a negative. He was never attached to any Ranger battalions at all." I see we got a couple people that stepped up. Did you guys have a question about the Ranger boating incident? If not, we're going to move on to the Arizona Stolen Valor Bill updates.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Hope everybody's having a great day. We had some really good movement on the Stolen Valor bill. It went to it was COW today, Committee of the Whole, and there's a uh, tweet floating around of the speech that was made. I had folks that came up to me and gave some good feedback. They're on the bill. I believe the bill is going to uh, be heard tomorrow and get voted out of the House unanimously. I have every bit of confidence that Senator President Peterson, is going to put it up on the board. We addressed his concerns in it, and that was to align it with the scams and frauds, and the attorneys looked at it. So I have confidence that he'll put it up. It's a good bill, and we just need to keep pushing it. I mean, we're in a situation where um, our valor is being tested. I mean, everything that anyone has done in the military, their families, friends. I mean, everyone. I mean, you can't touch or not reach out to somebody and they didn't, or have reached out to somebody and they don't have someone that has served in the military. It's a good bill. It's been written by a lot of folks, Anthony and Jack and Molly got the investigation going with countless other people, uh, Guardians of the Green Beret, who discovered um, or who piggybacked on what Molly was doing on her investigative work. So it's a good bill, and folks know it. I've been getting text from around the country, emails from around the country from veterans groups that are watching Arizona and wanting this bill to pass. And uh, this legislation um, could possibly be uh, the standard legislation for stolen valor, the gold standard. So that's why we got to keep pushing. Um, and so we had some veterans get up today and voiced what their thoughts about it. It was all our veterans. Um, when it gets voted on, those veterans are going to say something else. I imagine some of the other members who are not veterans will stand up and say some good things about it. But this is a win for everybody. This bill is a win for everybody. It's well written. It protects our vets, and it strikes to the heart to those that want to steal our valor. So I'm confident. I'm really confident of us getting this thing moved through the Senate on the board, and then to the governor's desk. I got a message from the governor last week, as you know, thanking us for running the bill and thanking us us using some of her language, and uh, that is real. That has never happened to me as a legislator, where the governor, before a bill came out, uh, sent me a personal text saying thanks for using our language, and we look forward to seeing the bill. So it just right now, when it's at the Senate, some hard rights have to be chosen over the easy wrong, and I have confidence he'll do that.
I'd say I've got some confidence in him, but I've heard he's getting some pushback from Wendy Rogers and Mark Fincham, which is not surprising,
Yeah.
considering that they both supported Steve Slayton in the elections, and to this day are still supporting him even after he's been proven to have stolen valor.
Yeah.
So
That's insane to me. That's insane to me. And so from what I understand, he said that I have something. He said something to take. I have something in my background. I tell you what, anyone here is welcome to pull my military records, and I've kept every single NCOER since I was a young uh, uh, sergeant. So um, my records are totally open to any type of examination. I think he's reaching now when he does this, um, and that's a sad case. However, the truth is out there, as you said. I mean, everyone has done their due diligence, and they are still hanging on to this. That the guy is legit, and I've never seen anything like this where folks have hung on so long after they've been proven by so many people and so many different organizations that the guy is in fact alive. I think there should be a Hall of Fame for Steve Slayton.
Oh, we got a Hall of Fame on our website, and I guarantee you, once all this is over, and I get my website running back like it was, he will definitely have a spot for
Yeah,
sure.
he has to be at the top of that. So, again, we are in we're on the last stretch of this. It's fourth down and or correction, third down, and we're on the goal line. The fourth down is when we get to the governor's desk, and she is. I really, in my heart, feel like she wants to pass this bill. She wants this bill to go on the books to protect veterans. So we got 500,000 veterans here. We can't be ignored. So
And we won't be ignored.
no.
Kyle Seraphin, I seen you popped up, brother. You got some questions or some comments?
Oh, I did. First of all, Mr. Blackman, my father speaks highly of you, so that's kind of a fun little connection. We never connected in Basin, but how's it going?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So my question is what do the penalties look like, and what do the reporting processes look like as far as what you consider to be a gold standard that could go across the country, and who can be the reporting parties and who's the investigative? I'm real curious about sort of the details because all these cases end up being kind of ugly, and it
Yeah.
ends up being like litigated in the media or social media, which seems like a terrible idea.
So if you give me a minute, I'll pull up the details for you, and I'll pull that up if you give me a second.
Love it. Yeah, mostly I'm curious about the specifics and if there's a possibility. Have you spoken with state legislators in other states as far as being able to kind of have a
Yeah.
copy and paste along the line?
Well, yes, and we spoke with them to the point to where we wanted to see what they were doing, what was working for them, um, what uh, what the law looks like in their state, what they're doing, what they are pulling out of the federal act, and so it's been conversations between me and these other folks. Um, I've been speaking with a guy I used to serve with, Colonel Budahas, who is actually will be out here this week or next week about something totally different. But spoke to him on several occasions about what looks right, and I will tell you, it 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 lines up. So when we're talking about Florida, Florida right now has the toughest statute out there, from what I believe. Anthony, is that correct right now?
That is correct. They have the toughest, and they're actually passing some amendments through the House and Senate now to actually make theirs even tougher, because theirs did not include a political office, even though it did tangible benefits. So they're actually adding an amendment that if you lie to gain political office, it also falls under their Stolen Valor bill.
Yeah. So as soon as I find it, I got so many notes on here. Okay. So some of the penalties we're talking about in the statute. So if a person violates the provision, commits, it's a we have it a graduated offense. So it's starting from a misdemeanor all the way up to a class 6. Now, when before the negotiations, our standard was, if a person, the threshold was $50,000. If a person um, swindle someone out of that amount of money, it has to reach that threshold, then the penalties would kick in. Instead of doing that, we actually went to the schemes and statute based on the conversation we have, and it's the graduated offense where it starts out at $5,000. So if a person commits $5,000 worth of offenses, are schemes and frauds, then the penalties will start. And the lowest, again, is a misdemeanor, and the highest is a class 5. Here is the difference between ours and Florida. So we have a statute that that reads that if a person commits a felony, that the seat is already vacant. Okay, and if it's a misdemeanor, then the judge can decide whether, if they are an elected official, then the judge can decide whether or not to vacate that seat. So if you think about, if somebody dies, they're in office, if somebody dies, it's an automatic. It's a trigger. It's automatic if somebody gets that felony. At the beginning, when we were drafting the bill and going through the initial conversations, that was when we met with Peterson. That was one of his concerns, is that he wanted to make sure that it lined up with statute. So we took the actual verbiage out, a person being removed from office 10 days after the person was sentenced, to we applied that, we plugged the statute in there where it automatically becomes vacant, applying to any member that is been found guilty and sentenced and has a felony. So that makes it stronger than the Florida Act, because I think there's a timeline in the Florida Act instead of it being triggered. Now you ask who reports this. So, for example, if a person's having a fundraiser, and in that fundraiser, it could be any fundraiser. It doesn't have to be a political fundraiser. It could be for nonprofit, so on and so forth. And the person is using the backdrop of they are a veteran. Okay, so come and donate to uh, my nonprofit, this fundraiser, because I am a veteran. And it turns out the person is not a veteran, or donate to my nonprofit because I am a recipient of the gold medal or the Congressional Medal of Honor, or any of those medals that we have put on there. Okay, or I'm a ranger, or so on and so forth, and they collect money. So if they collect more than $5,000 or more, that's when that penalty begins. So how it's reported is that anyone, as you know, can say, "I'd like to find out if this person is a veteran." They do a FOIA. It comes back to them. It's not a FOIA. The proof has to be before the attorney general would take that case. It has to be undeniably proven that the person lied. So, for example, in the case with Steve Slayton, there were many sources that said, yeah, that's his record that he turned in was not the correct record, wasn't right. Okay. What he did is that he sent out campaign mailers, and on the bottom of his campaign mailers said he is a Vietnam veteran, or something on the bottom of it that alluded to that he was in Vietnam. Okay. Now I want you to just take this, and I'll land my plane. If you are getting a mailer from somebody you didn't know, and you are a veteran, and you don't care about the politics, you don't care about who's running, but you see on there that the person is a veteran and a Vietnam vet, it's more than likely that a person may probably donate to that person something. So that right there, and I think he raised upwards to 50,000 or more. I'm not sure, 60 or 70 or something like that. So with that person finds out that in fact he is not a veteran, or he didn't deploy, or so on and so forth. They can do a criminal complaint to the Attorney General's office. So that is the reporting mechanism. Now, if there's somebody on the street collecting $2 or $3 and they're wearing a uniform, that is not an offense, because we have a lot of people that are homeless, that are on the sidewalk, are asking for things, asking for money, and they've got these signs saying I'm a veteran or this or this. They're not collecting $5,000. Now, If their total is $5,000, then they've got a problem. But that's typically how we built this piece of legislation, and also to make sure that their First Amendment was insulated, was protected, um, because the 2005 law that the folks wanted us to mirror protects that First Amendment through Alvarez versus the United States. So, uh, land my plane. The long and the short of it, that's how we built the frame of it.
Just clarifying too, the investigation end of it is on the responsibility of the person that feels like they're being aggrieved. So you have anybody that wants to make the complaint can do the FOIA and then bring the evidence, but it's not something that they could simply report to local law enforcement, report to fill in the blank authority that's in the state, and then have that investigated on their behalf. They actually would have to end up doing the legwork on it. Is that correct?
Exactly, and it depends on also the level of the crime. If we have somebody that has raised over 100 grand, okay, of course the AG or the investigating agency, they're going to take up that investigation. uh, if someone feels like that they were frauded against, okay, there is a hotline to the AG's office for any type of fraud that a person can call or fill out a report to the AG's office, and then the AG will pick it up from there. That's standard in Arizona. That is why we use the schemes and fraud statute, because the AG can determine whether or not they're going to investigate and pull these records, or they are going to require additional information from the person. However, the AG's office is not going to take the word of somebody just reporting. They're going to do their due diligence, just like a regular prosecutor would do in any case that comes before them. So, for example, in this case, if Mr. Slayton was being prosecuted under this, the AG's office is going to pull his records. His defense attorney is going to pull his records because they want to see if this is in fact true or not. So the person who has been frauded needs to come forward, okay, just like in any other fraud case. And then the AG, depending on the level of fraud, will either put their resources in it, okay, and if it's just depends on where it's at in that grouping. But that's a law that's why we use the frauds and schemes, so folks can self-report, or if it's something that rises to the AG's level, that they can initiate a investigation on their own.
Awesome. Jim Laporta, you had a question?
Yeah, I actually had two questions. Thank you. One is one thing you were talking about the uniform, and I was wondering if the Arizona law defines what a uniform is. You know, like wearing of the medals, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. But does the Arizona law, is it like, well, they're only wearing 50% of a uniform versus
No,
say 100% of the uniform? Is there like
no,
a percentage of a uniform?
no, there isn't. A person could be walking around like Patton, and if he's on the street collecting nickels and dimes, that person is not prosecuted. A person can just be wearing a PT top,
I
and,
see.
and they have not met that threshold of $5,000. They're not going to be they're not going to be or investigated.
Right.
Now, it's morally wrong to do that. Okay,
Right.
that's why we put a lot of protections in this piece of legislation to the person that is being um, accused of this, and that was my primary goal. I want to protect those folks. Look, you got folks from Vietnam that can't prove that they were in Vietnam, but they were there, and we've seen it, that you have these people run some people run up on somebody and they're wearing dog tags and they're beating them up saying that they're stolen valor, and all they're doing is walking through the mall or something like that. And then you got that one bad group of bad actors that are making money off of unsuspecting people, and not only are they wearing the uniform, they are asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations to nonprofits or to themselves or to the can or to campaigns. political campaigns. So, yeah, I hope that answered your question.
It did. Thank you.
Nick Cupper, for anybody that doesn't know, Nick's also a representative in Arizona, and actually he stood up today and spoke. And I watched his speech. And Nick, I just got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed your speech on the floor today.
Hey, thanks, Anthony. And one more time, I want to really thank Rep Blackman, my colleague, for bringing this bill and fighting so hard to get it where it is. You know, you and I, we've had a lot of conversation, Walt, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know very well, and I talked to Anthony about this too. I'm not the kind of guy who tries to make a lot of waves publicly. I like to do a lot of things quietly and get things accomplished, you know. So I just want to clarify a couple things in the bill real quick. Jim, you asked about uniform. Just to be clear, the bill doesn't actually say the word uniform anywhere in it. We talk about uniformed service in the bill, but the word uniform itself is not actually in there. And then back to the penalties we talked about. There have been some amendments, and actually very early on, I went to Walt and offered him a quick amendment because there was a small, just clerical error in there, and so we've kind of been working on this since early on. But the two main penalties that are listed are Class 1 misdemeanor, which is a $2,500 penalty, and then there's a Class 6 felony if somebody is, you know, making money off of being, you know, impersonating a veteran. And Class 6 felony in Arizona, for a first-time offense, is a penalty anywhere from 4 months up to 2 years in prison. So, and then additionally to what Walt was talking about earlier, it has to do with, you know, if you're serving, you're immediately, you can't serve. You know, you're disqualified from any elected office, which is exactly how it should be. You know, it's I didn't really want to run for office, for instance. For anyone who doesn't know me, I retired from the Air Force at the end of 2023. And I kind of reluctantly ran for office because I felt, you know, I'm still a young man. I'm 40 years old. I have a lot to offer. I still need to keep serving, even if it's not in the military. But there's some people I saw during the campaigns that were doing stuff like what Walt dealt with, you know, people trying to pretend they're something they're not. And look, I get it. Politicians suck, which unfortunately I am one now. But politicians suck. And it's a huge reason why I wanted to be a politician, so I could be that politician that I never felt like I got. I never got a decent guy. But suck or not, you know, if you want to lie about, I don't know, that you used to play college basketball, that's great. Lie about that. But don't be lying about service like this. This is something where a lot of men and women have made truly the ultimate sacrifice. Their families have sacrificed. I know my wife, honestly, more often than not, she worked harder than I did when in my 20 years. I feel like, you know, a lot of times the spouses aren't getting the credit, the families aren't getting the credit. I had one kid go to 7 different elementary schools because of how often we had to move. So when you have somebody like what Walt dealt with, and they're just blatantly, you know, lying about stuff, it sends me over the top. I know it sends him over the top. I mean, just look at Tim Walz. It'd be one thing for a person like a Tim Walz to come out and say, "Look, I served 24 years in the Guard, and that's it," and people would be happy, like, "Hey, man, congrats!" Even if they don't like your politics, they'd agree that you served, and they'd be appreciative of it. But when you try to make yourself bigger than you are, and try to make yourself something you're not, and take away from people who really did do things, it just pisses us off. So I'm excited this bill's here. I'm excited to vote on it. Again, I voted on it once. Excited to vote on it again, and excited to get it through the Senate. And I agree. I think President Peterson is gonna hear the bill. He's gonna do the right thing. He's a good man, and I'm excited to get to the governor's desk and get her to sign it.
And if I could just caveat to my brother there, my representative brother there, he did a lot of work that he is not going to uh, scream on the mountains. But I want to give him this credit that he's actually went out and talked to folks on both sides, making sure that you know the I's were dotted, the T's were crossed. And for him to actually get up and say something, that means we, you know, it's something to be heard, because it means a lot. So my brother in arms there, even though you're Air Force, I do appreciate all the work that you've done on this. And if I can just clarify something else, Jack Dona added some amendments. Also, I had turned in the bill. It was a work in progress, and he reached out and says, "Hey, we need to put schools in there." And he found some language that cover schools, because y'all were just talking about this. Somebody says that they're a ranger, okay, and they walk around with it. I mean, everybody wants to be a SEAL, right? So the bill covers that too. You can't say you're a ranger and then try to range money off of that. And then of course, Stolen Valor 1, you guys, hit sticks, and y'all were really getting this thing revved up. So it wasn't just me. It was a team effort, one team, one fight, and so as I want to dismiss a rumor out there. Um, uh, they cannot change the name of the bill. They can't take Jack's father's name off of the bill. That someone would have to run a new bill to do that, and then something like this, the governor would, I would think the governor would veto it. Probably wouldn't even make it out of the chambers. And I have not seen that happening. So I think that's a rumor that just kind of got some tricycle wheels on it, but that is not happening. And even if someone tried to do that, I don't know what Mr. Slayton said on his interview, or what the reporter asked. The name is not going to be changed on that piece of legislation.
I appreciated you saying to caveat off. I smiled when you said that. I hear it all the time now. To piggyback off first sergeant, or to piggyback off the commanding officer. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that's something we learned in the military, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So every time I hear it in civilian society, I just smile now.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Jim Laporter is not only a reporter for CBS, he's also a Marine. There's not a.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's
Well,
fine.
but one thing I was going to bring up, just as a discussion, is the one thing that me and Anthony have to deal with a lot is these political cases where there's a little bit of ambiguity. And I'm thinking of like like Senator Blumenthal with I served in the Vietnam War versus I served during the Vietnam era. Does that legally that doesn't cross the stolen valor definition, but is that stolen valor? Or one we dealt with was J.R. Majewski, who was running in Ohio, where he was like, you know, I served in Afghanistan, and then when he couldn't prove that he actually served in Afghanistan, he's like, well, I'm a veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom, which he is. And so there's all these like little ambiguity kind of like things where me and Anthony were always kind of going back and forth and like, does this qualify as stolen valor, or does that qualify as stolen valor? And like, what is that line of demarcation that is separate from the legal definition? Because a lot of the stolen valors we come across, not all of them are. There's not usually an element of fraud. It's more for their own, self-worth, I guess, or I'm not sure for why they.
What about Mills? How's he fit into that?
Congressman Nails?
I've heard his name pop up. He's another, yeah.
Well, Nails.
Congressman Nails. That's a little bit. It's hard because, like, when he became congressman, he actually had paperwork that said that he had a combat infantry badge, and then after becoming a congressman, that was rescinded. And so it's like, well, there's one argument that, well, he should have known better because back in 2008 he wasn't a infantryman, and so therefore he should have known better that he shouldn't have been wearing a combat infantry badge. However, he did have paperwork that said from 2008 that he rated the combat infantryman badge, and then it wasn't rescinded until I think it was like 2022, something like that.
Did they
So
swap it
there's
for
a
like
little bit of
a CAB or
those
something?
cases are harder. What's that?
Did they swap it for like a CAB or what did they?
Well, it was interesting. He already had a CAB. He had a CAB from 2004. And the other thing was interesting was when I FOIA'd his records, his second Bronze Star wasn't on his DD-214. And so him having a second Bronze Star was actually news to the Army. They didn't have a record of him having a second Bronze Star. And I've only ran into this in one other case, which was actually Vice President Vance. If you FOIA Vice President Vance, he only has one Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. But I learned from talking to people who served with him that he actually had two. And that second one was never added to his DD-214 after he left the service. So these are, it's, which is kind of why you need people like Stolen Valor to do the due diligence that they do, right? Because, as everybody knows, there's a lot of human error, and again, I always keep in mind people like Admiral Borda, who in 1996, he was accused of stolen valor and he killed himself over it. And it turned out to be a paperwork issue, you know? So anyways.
It'd be nice if they hired some admin troops that actually got the paperwork right on the way out the door, so you didn't find out that some things were true and some things were false when you got your DD-214s at the end of the day. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Can we pass a bill? You think that's at the federal level that increases the quality requirements for admin troops? Is that a possibility?
So
with all this Doge, with Doge cutting all this money, I'm sure there's some extra dollars lying around. You could do like a recruiting drive.
That seems like a real government answer. Throw money at it, but yeah, you're probably right.
So what I see is, I think the when we look at the 90,000 foot level, we have some people that are looking at the real big cases, like that guy Rick Stanfor, whatever his name is. He said he was a Marine and he got all kind of money, like $200,000 for a nonprofit. Then we've got the girl that worked in the VA. I think she said she never served, and she said,
Correct.
yeah. So we have that 90,000 foot level that people see that, but we don't see is what actually happens at the state level when these folks are committing this. For example, I was looking at through some applications this morning actually to see how many of these applications, these state wide applications, it says, "Are you a veteran? Do you claim veteran status?" Okay, and we see that across the board. Those are maybe minute instances for some people, but it does a couple of things. One, it robs that well-deserving veteran who is a veteran out of a job. Number one, somebody frauded the state by lying on their application, which means that taxpayers are paying somebody that got hired under false pretense. So when we're talking about collectively, when we're talking about the tax dollars that have been lost just in Arizona alone, this is a big deal. Jobs and benefits and just an avalanche of ripple effects when one person lies about their service. Could you imagine if Steve Slayton won because he said he was a Vietnam veteran? Could you imagine that? I mean, despite anything that I think about Mr. Slayton, imagine if this guy won because he said he was a Vietnam veteran. Is that defrauding the 175,000 people that I represent in my district and Marshall represents in our district? Has he broken the trust and the valor of fellow veterans by lying to get in there? And then what happens when it's found out? Because it would have been found out by guys like Stolen Valor. So our bill peels the onion back and holds these folks accountable like they should be. And if they're going to lie about their service, what else are they going to lie about?
Exactly. Viking Rob, you got a question, brother?
Not so much as a question as just making a statement, and greatly honored to be able to speak in here with these great representatives from Arizona. So I currently live in Iowa, but my dad has a winter home in Fort Mojave. I have an aunt and uncle that live in Salome. I have 2 aunts and 3 cousins that live in Kingman, Arizona. So you can see this trending that sooner or later I may be down there and everything. I retired after 28 and a half years of service last October. I've been a pogue. a person other than a grunt, for everybody listening and everything, my entire career. I want to talk about three things: service, integrity, and respect. And there's a lot of people I greatly respect here. Jim Laporta, an amazing person, has done so much, especially when it comes to Memorial Day with the remembrance of veterans and everything else. But from a veteran's perspective, the most important thing that we can do is represent ourselves honestly. Everybody's service is important. And when it translates to the world of politics, running for office and everything, I would submit to the audience here that not everybody gets to be a hero. Not everybody is that guy that's pulling the trigger. There are so many things that is in CSS, and that stands for Combat Service and Support, that enable the warfighter to actually complete their function and complete their mission. And a lot of the CSS functions and everything, when it comes to logistics, when it comes to maintenance, when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to public affairs, like what Jim is an expert at and everything, that's actually quite a bit more translatable into a public service, a political position than what being a war hero, quote unquote, would be. And it breaks my heart to see so many people trying to claim things. And Anthony's known me for years and years. Well, when I say years and years, I mean just a couple of years here on Twitter. But we've had discussions. We've had a lot of these cases with Steve Slayton and everything. It is sufficient as a veteran. And like I said, I retired as a first sergeant here back in October. It is sufficient as a veteran to just be proud of what you have done and the skill set that you have, and the skill sets of the people that enable the warrior to be able to pull the trigger and put lead down range translates well into what the political atmosphere requires, with budgeting, with planning, with understanding the scope of missions, and being able to equip our forces and set us up for success with the amount of money required, with the amount of equipment required, the kind of equipment required to do the mission. And there's a lot of people listening tonight. This is being recorded and everything. My message to anybody out there that is like me, that has not been combat arms, that's a pogue, be proud of what you've done. Be proud of the skill set that you've acquired over your years of service and everything. If anything, use that to make your next step in life, should that be political office, which is something I would never run for. But, this is what we are talking about. Use these skills that you've acquired and be honest about what you've done, because there's a lot of things that you can benefit the rest of society with. I mean, logistics is huge, maintenance is huge. It's just amazing to me that people feel the need to be likable.
All right.
Electable.
That was the space there.
However you want to phrase it, that you have to be some kind of a hero. You don't.
With Anthony Anderson on X. If you guys want to get an X account and jump in and check it out, obviously we were able to snag at least an hour worth of discussion, and we want to continue, of course, with our broadcasting, and then cover some of the stuff that we got to close out, do some housekeeping and all that. And so we appreciate everybody getting up to speed, and appreciate everybody's patience too. I know it's hard to kind of keep up on what's happening, especially when you have different platforms speaking about different topics. Like, for instance, on Twitter, there's a lot more discussion and a lot more going back and forth. And then you see on Facebook, you'll see Facebook, it'll get posted, and then you'll see the comments get angry. Facebook does their algorithms and blocks people or auto hides them for what supposedly is supposed to be free speech, since they said they're not going to do content monitoring anymore. At any rate, so yeah, just check in. Anthony Anderson has his Facebook page, Stolen Valor. As a matter of fact, let me grab onto his site, and you could see his site here. Let me window cap this one right here as well. He's back there on the webs. And he's now got his Facebook page up. This is his he had a Facebook page that had almost as much followers as US Army WTF Moments, but there's been some connection stuff and all that. I swear Facebook is the most difficult platform to do page management. And so for right now, you can already see he's already grabbing, he's going up in the likes and follows. So make sure you can get on his site and check it out. And then, like I said, his space is already recording and up. So with that, let's go through, let's do some housekeeping here. Okay, so like I said before, we are already discussing the shop. The shop is up. Look at the links inside the chat. The shop will be opened up, will be posted on the main page, and it's already been posted underneath the comments of the WTF Nation Radio broadcast. So you'll see it start moving about. I'm excited. Hell, we're all excited to get this back and then get it rolling. That's cool. So hopefully we'll see you guys out and about. Wearing the swag and sporting the WTF Nation gear. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got going on? Let me just go ahead and go to the calendar here. So today is Monday edition, of course, with me and Massey. Normally, Massey's busy. Massey's got stuff going on, and he's still living in ravaged West North Carolina. So he's doing a lot of shit. So we kind of give him the I don't want to say we're lenient on him when it comes to that, but hey, we'll give him that if he can't make it in. So because he travels a lot as well for his work. Tuesday, Pop Culture Warrior Michael Carrasquillo. Hey, I just wanted you guys to know tomorrow is Pop Culture Warrior's 200th episode. 200 episodes of Pop Culture Warrior, not FTX, not the other, not any other stuff that he's been on. 200 episodes of Pop Culture Warrior. Make sure also you grab the merch. You see the merch in the comments there that I posted. Make sure you grab that merch too from Pop Culture Warrior. Since we've got both of our shops open, once it migrates over, then that one link will go. So for right now, in the interim, keep getting that merch from PCW. And then I guarantee it, you guys, I'm looking forward to see what he's got in store. He just came back from another Comic-Con, Conference Con. And the socials have been posting all the Mandalorian stuff, all the all of our famous or nostalgic pop culture celebrities. So check out the socials on Pop Culture Warrior and WTF Nation Radio's Facebook and Instagram page. And I think it was posted on the Twitter page or the X page as well. So again, tune in tomorrow with either Mad Mike or Angry Elf, part of his angry staff, Michael Carrasquillo, known as the Pop Culture Warrior, or we call him, or as we say, CQ. Wednesday's the Sorents, the Smoke Pit, and that is Radar and TZ. Sergeant's time with myself and Spanky. Spanky's been out doing Spanky stuff. She's got stuff going on as well, but I think she'll be back she's back this Thursday, I think yes, this Thursday she'll be back. And then she'll be back hanging out with me and go over some Sergeant's Time stuff. Oh, Sergeant's Time stuff sometimes can be so mundane and dry. But Insomniacs is he only shows up for Mike. Ooh, snap. And then of course FTX. This last week was a bye week, so now FTX is going to be live. And then of course Saturdays. Weekend co-ops with Nemo and the crew at either WTF Nation WTF Nation Gaming, Valor, Stack Up, Regiment. Those are the guys that he normally collabs with. WTF Nation Radio Sports Bar on Sundays. If the actual King Smith will stop hurting himself, he'll get on there. Sorry, bro, I'm breaking balls, man. Him and the coach. What do you hear? What do you say? And then, of course, Monday with myself and Massey. Broadcasting on 5 different platforms live. 2 Facebook pages at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. 2 YouTube pages at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. And, of course, X, or formerly known as Twitter, at WTF Nation Radio. Share, like, and follow. And those links are going to get posted up. Links are going to get posted up on the main page pretty soon. It's like I said, I'm pretty excited. The shop is active. And, man, I can't wait. Can't wait to see the lines. Can't wait to see the merch coming across. I can't wait to see what products are coming out, and I can't wait to see all the merchandise going back out into the WTF Nation. It's funny because somebody sent a picture of their old beat up uniform shirt, so those are coming too as well. So you can wear your WTF Nation stuff as underneath your uniform, because we had the top fan ones. So somebody sent one, was like, "Oh man, yeah, it's time to bring this back." We're not seeing pretty much any guests yet, so wait for a couple of weeks, and then we might be able to announce some guests coming up. And we hopefully, like I said, I'm looking at the calendar right now. We got some lined up. I can't wait. Hopefully, once they're confirmed, we're good to go, and we can announce them. Again, thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks again, Anthony and Anthony Anderson from Stolen Valor for giving us an update and give us a follow-up to the Arizona Stolen Valor Act. I'm curious, why is she called Spanky? You know what? I'm trying to remember who gave her that nickname. I'm gonna have to ask her. I'm gonna have to ask her. Who gave her the nickname so I could properly brief the origin story of Spanky's name. So other than that, like I said, share, like, and follow. Thank you guys for hanging out, and don't forget, tune in 200th episode Pop Culture Warrior tomorrow. Shots. See you.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Where the madness reigns, arbitrary orders driving us insane. ATF zero dark 30, no time to complain. Push up in the mud, feel the muscle strain. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Forged in the battle's bind. Hilltops in the desert, sandstones in our eyes. Memories for breakfast, no room for lies. Rocket marches through the night under starless skies. Brothers and sisters, we rise. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive. In the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos, in the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Drill sergeant's fury echoing in the air. Discipline and duty we all must bear. Battle bodies by our side in the fight we share. In the face of danger we dare. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive. In the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Souls and firefights, adrenaline's rush. Silent nights broken by the enemy's hush. Medics on the move in the heat of the crush. In in the heart of battle we trust. It's W.T.F moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find out our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle army ranks. It's a wild ride. W.T.F moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive. In the ranks we thrive. Homecoming's bittersweet, memories in our mind. Brothers lost but never left behind. Army W.T.F moments in the stories we find. In the army's embrace, we're forever entwined. It's W.T.F moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find out our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Through the smoke and the flames we rise again. In the heart of the storm we find our zen. Battle buddies by our side, our men. In the army's legacy we transcend.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Я батько. Я молодший брат.
Я водій маршрутки. Я скоро одружуся. Я фанат шахтера.
Начальник отдела продаж.
Я прораб.
Я программист. Я свидетель на свадьбе.
Борщица.
Дядя Юра, таксист. Я вчитель фізкультури.
Я студент-геолог.
У мене своя фірма. Я кращий друг зі школи. Я сусід, який завжди стукає по батареї.
Я єдиний син.